California has no idea what is going to happen when Alexandra Eala travels to Indian Wells. The amount of Filipinos participating in this tournament is unprecedented. Sections are being reserved in bulk, tickets are selling out, and the tournament directors are apparently in disbelief at what they are seeing. The fifth Grand Slam is about to undergo a radical transformation. Do you believe Alexandra Eala will make it to the Indian Wells semi-finals this year? Do you think the Filipino audience in California will be the loudest supporters the tournament has ever had? Post your prediction in the comments section right now. Let's discuss what is truly going on in California at the moment, as its scope warrants a thorough understanding rather than a cursory mention on social media. Alexandra Eala is competing in the Indian Wells BNP Paribas Open main event. Not by qualifying, not by using a wild card, and not by placing 31st in the world. She rose from 137 to 31 in only a year, earning a rating that forced the tennis community to take notice. She defeated Jasmine Paolini, ranked 8th in the world with a score of 6,176, in the Miami Open semifinals and the Dubai quarterfinals. Gold at the Southeast Asian Games, the Australian Open main draw debut, the Auckland semifinals, and the Abu Dhabi quarterfinals. She had to earn her place at Indian Wells the hard way, which is the only way it truly matters. Additionally, since her admission was confirmed, the tournament organizers have been keeping an eye on ticket sales and hotel reservations. They seem to be genuinely stunned by what they are witnessing. The greatest Filipino diaspora in the US is found in California. This state's large, well-organized, sports-loving Filipino-American community has been waiting for a moment much like this one. A player who competes at the top levels of international tennis in their own country while representing the Philippines. Not only did she compete, win, and break records, but former top 10 professionals referred to her as the sport's biggest attraction, and her photo was displayed at Nike World Headquarters in Oregon with the tagline, "History in Full Bloom." The Filipino community in California has responded in a way that the Indian Wells Tennis Garden has never experienced before because to the combination of athletic achievement and cultural importance. Group reservations are being arranged by fan clubs in Los Angeles, San Diego, and Daly City. Community organizations are reserving entire sections of the stadium in an attempt to produce the same wall of sound that transformed Dubai into a Filipino celebration and featured Coco Gauff acknowledging the audience following her quarter-final triumph over Eala. Prices for tickets on the secondary market during the sessions when IA is anticipated to perform have already increased noticeably over face value. According to reports, some seats are selling for twice as much as they originally cost. The tournament's commercial side is totally unprepared for a player rated 30th in the world creating this amount of market demand, which is the economic reality of the Eala effect making its way to American soil. For background, Indian Wells has acquired the moniker Fifth Grand Slam. In 2026, there will be more than $9 million in prizes. Every well-known player in women's tennis is on the field. Aryna Sabalenka is a multiple Grand Slam champion and the top player in the world. Iga Swiatek, the reigning champion Mira Andreeva. Pegula Jessica, Golf Coco. The list of applicants resembles a who's who of the current top athletes. At a tournament of this caliber, these athletes have spent years developing the reputations and outcomes that demand high ticket prices and prime court assignments. And smack in the heart of that list is world number 31 Alexandra Eala, who is drawing more interest from a single group than the well-known players on paper are from the tennis community at large. Such a comment is not insignificant. That completely defies the standard business logic of professional tennis. And it's taking place in real time right now. Beaverton, Oregon was the first stop on the way to this point. Eala made a stop at the Nike World Headquarters before traveling to California, and the response she got there set the tone for everything that will happen at Indian Wells. Her pictures were already on display with the greatest athletes the company has ever sponsored in the well-known Nike Tunnel. Her famous face after making it to the Miami semifinals was captured in one portrait. Her face with both hands. Tears are the unfiltered feelings of someone who has just done something that goes above and beyond what they had anticipated. Nike does not caption things carelessly, therefore the caption, "History in Full Bloom," was picked on purpose. A picture of Eala taking a selfie with Filipino supporters was also on display in the tunnel, and it explains exactly what Nike believes makes this collaboration successful. They are investing in the community that supports the athlete wherever she goes, not just in the athlete herself. It is a declaration that the EA story is greater than any one athlete's success when that fan photo is displayed on the wall at worldwide headquarters. Every event she competes in is transformed by this cultural movement, which has a global fan following. The visit to Oregon was scheduled on purpose. Yaya came to the United States early in order to have more time to get ready for the conditions at Indian Wells. A particular playing environment is created by the California desert. The air is dry. Ball flight is influenced by altitude. Compared to what she experienced at the Middle East and Oceania trips earlier in the year, the courts played differently. Arriving in the US before the majority of players from Europe have arrived, adjusting to the time zone, and being acquainted with the surface conditions. At a tournament where every player in the draw is performing at an elite level, these are the margins that count. She had 7 years of instruction at the Rafa Nadal Academy in a setting that valued rigorous preparation and an unwavering work ethic. Her approach to each campaign reflects this foundation. She doesn't just show up the day before and cross their fingers. She makes arrangements in advance. She gets ready for certain situations. This kind of deliberate preparation is exemplified by the early arrival in the United States and the visit to the Nike headquarters. It is impossible to overestimate the impact on her long-term growth of entering Indian Wells with a top 30 ranking as opposed to qualifying. Players that make it through qualifying have previously participated in a number of intense games before entering the main draw. They are burdened with exhaustion. The direct entrance players' conserved emotional and physical energy has already been expended by them. Eala achieved an incredible feat last year in Miami by qualifying and making it to the semifinals. However, it also meant that she played more games overall under more pressure than any of the opponents she overcame. She is new to Indian Wells this year. She is tired when she comes. After 2 weeks of recuperation from Dubai, she arrives. She also arrives after visiting the Nike headquarters, which gave her a psychological boost that practice court time cannot match. You can learn more about yourself than you could from training alone when you see your picture on the wall of the world's most well-known sports brand headquarters next to athletes whose names embody what it means to be great. The opposition is strong. Some of the most accomplished athletes in women's sports history are represented by the top seeds in Indian Wells. For a number of years, Sabalenka has been one of the most powerful players in women's tennis. Swiatek is still one of the most complete players on the tour and has held the top spot for long stretches of time. At this event, Andrea is the reigning champion. On their best day, any of them can defeat any competitor in the field. However, whether she can defeat the world number one in straight sets in her debut match is hardly the main topic of discussion at Indian Wells. It tells the story of what transpires over the course of 2 weeks when a player enters a tournament and begins to advance through rounds using her profile, form, fan base, and psychological momentum. In the future, the players who defeat her at these events will have to do it in front of thousands of Filipino spectators, generating noise levels never seen in the tournament's regular draw rounds. The player whose fans are making the noise is given an advantage in that truly different competitive setting. Every tournament in 2026 has shown that Sam Querrey and Steve Johnson were correct when they said that Eala's drawing power was greater than Joel Fence's on the men's side last year. Auckland's crowds were impressive. There are records set in Melbourne. The mood in Abu Dhabi was electrifying. Goff herself spoke to the crowd in Dubai, thanking the Filipino supporters for their presence and for changing the tournament's atmosphere. California operates on a whole other scale. The Filipino population in this area is more than just a few passionate tourists who came for a unique experience. Since Eala's run in Miami last year shown that she was truly capable of playing with and defeating the world's top players, there has been a long-standing, sizable organized diaspora that has been anticipating this precise moment with growing fervor. The event organizers, who are apparently shocked by the jump in ticket sales, are not coping with a brief increase in interest that will subside when the draw is made public. They are coping with a structural shift in the demographics and motivations of their attendees. For years, tennis in the US has been trying to reach populations who have not traditionally been very interested in the sport and to draw in more varied audiences. Without a marketing campaign, a well-thought-out outreach plan, or anything other than winning matches and conducting herself with the kind of dignity and competitiveness that makes people proud to associate themselves with her story, Alexandra Eala achieved that in a single season. Thousands of Filipino fans traveling to the California desert will have an impact on every commercial touchpoint of the tournament, including food vendors, merchandise operations, hospitality suites, parking, and tennis events. The rising ticket prices on the secondary market represent real dollars flowing into the Indian Wells ecosystem from a demographic that was not previously producing that kind of economic activity. She won't be by herself when I enter that court for her competition debut. Behind her, there will be a wall of red, blue, and white. At this competition, she will hear her name in a manner that the majority of players at her ranking have never heard. Every opponent will feel like they are the away team when she plays in this environment. Eala must cope with living like Michael Jordan in the Philippines, according to Kim Clears. She is going to experience what it's like to have that same energy brought to American land in California. The Filipino diaspora here is prepared to offer her all and more that her admirers in Dubai gave her. On March 4th, Indian Wells opens. In essence, the countdown has ended. The fans have reservations. These areas are set aside. The neighborhood is structured. And Alexandra Eala, who just arrived from Oregon with Nike's full support on display and a career-high ranking that places her in the top tier of the draw, is set to take to the purple courts and do something that has never been done before in the tournament's history. Every player in the draw who must compete against Eala in front of that crowd will comprehend exactly what Coco Gauff knew in Dubai, as the 5th Grand Slam is going to experience a completely different kind of excitement. Being hostile to her is one thing. It is somewhat different to play against her and the Filipino community as a whole at the same time. With Nike supporting her and a whole Filipino community in California eager to transform that desert stadium into something this tournament has never seen, Alexandra Eala is traveling to Indian Wells with her best ever ranking. The atmosphere surrounding the 5th Grand Slam will be the most electrifying in years.